For being here. My name's Philip Morris. I'm the CEO of the Proctors Collaborative, which includes Proctors in Schenectady, theRep in Albany, and UPH in Saratoga Springs. And this is a kind of special day, but having the oddness of COVID done oddly. A few special guests I'd like to note. Steve Mann is here from Senator Schumer's office. Steve, where are you? Oh, he just took a call. Well, he is here. Heather Ward, who is the president of the Proctors Collaborative Board, is here with her husband, Jason. Thank you. And Ellen Sachs from MVP is here, who has worked with us to create our Neighbor for Neighbor program. So what's kind of odd here is that normally you'd be announcing a grand opening. And we're not announcing a grand opening because we don't know when that'll be. So in the age of COVID, you learn how to split differences. And the difference we're splitting is we're announcing completion. Because how can we let this be complete and you guys not all know about it, right? We got to do that. So it's kind of a fabulous moment because it's not often any city upstate announces a $14.5 million cultural project. So that's pretty cool for Albany. And it's not very often in the theater world that a LORT theater, a professional producing theater, can announce a new building, especially one this spectacular. So for the Capital Region, for which CapRep is the only theater of its kind for 11 or 12 counties, we are ecstatic to say this is complete, and we're ecstatic to know that it's in idle mode while we wait for the day to hit the pedal. So to that end, the person probably most ecstatic is our next speaker. She's waited for this for probably 30 years. And I'm delighted to introduce our artistic producing director, Maggie. I'm ecstatic it's done. I can kick the tires, but I can't take it for a spin. Mancinelli Cahill.
Well, I've used the metaphor, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. And I feel like a bride almost today. Maybe a bride, but I can't have my honeymoon night because we can't do a show yet. But I want to tell you, I really do want to thank every single person who is here. I'd like to thank a whole bunch of people who couldn't be with us today because of the restrictions on space. And you know who you are. The people who have helped make Capital Rep possible for 40 years are here in this room. Some of them have passed on to the Netherlands, but they are in my heart. And I just want to say thank you. There are countless people in the state and federal government, our wonderful board president, Harold Island, and all of our trustees who gave of their hearts and treasure to buy this building for us. The amazing Mayor Sheehan, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank our fearless leader who really knows how to build stuff, Philip Morris. So thanks to everybody. Now, I was gonna say, my mother had this expression, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. And she meant that with my dating, but I mean it about all the buildings we looked at in Albany before we walked in here. The first time, of course, we rejected this building, and then a whole bunch of people suggested that we look at it again, and it has indeed become the frog that became a wonderful prince, one princess, and anything in between. I am so happy because what this facility means for staff and artists, the facility improvements alone, a prop shop, a costume shop, a loading door that loads directly onto the stage instead of everything having to come in the front door at Pearl Street, just up the block. A rehearsal space that turns into a beautiful, flexible space studio theater. Dressing rooms, amazing, private dressing rooms for the first time ever, so that we can give that benefit to some of our wonderful, incredible artists. And I have to say it, 25 years I've been here as producing artistic director, and I have an office with a window for the first time. So all of these things, but what will really make a huge connection for our artists is some very fun equipment that we have in sound and lights. You have to turn the house lights out, guys. Yeah, you have to turn the house lights out, Brandon. Yeah, there we go, there we go. And you have to turn all these out so that you can see. What I love about this is that, you know, I can do a disco after hours, you know, very easily. It's one flip, and this is of what we get because of all the moving lights, of all the color that we can do with the LEDs that are here. This is a state-of-the-art facility. Our designers are absolutely going to trip out. So, okay, Brandon, you can bring those back up. You know, I'm not too good at, you know, whatever those suggest. Okay, well, what this facility means for our audiences: better sight lines. I want you to notice, no poles. Every seat is a great seat in this auditorium. Better acoustics, more bathrooms, which are amazing, an elevator, comfortable seats, and the Peg and Jim Miller Lounge on the second floor so that we can have small gatherings and treat our special guests specially. But what this means for our whole community, it's finally, we have a space worthy of the people who love the arts and have supported Capital Rep for 40 years. And this is very close to my heart. This is a place where we can welcome our neighbors, the people from our region, and visitors from everywhere in the country to a place that was built especially for all of us. We strive to be a vital part of our neighborhood and of our community. And with that, I'm going to turn the proceeds over to a very special person. Our Arbor Hill Elementary Community School Site Coordinator and our very dear friend, Shanae Lawrence, to speak about our partnership. Shanae.
Good morning. First, I would like to thank you, Phil, for the opportunity to say something about the influence that Capital Rep has had on Arbor Hill Elementary Community School. Capital Rep and Arbor Hill Elementary School has partnered in a variety of meaningful ways. One example of this partnership was the backpack program, in which Capital Rep provided much-needed supplies to fill in some of the gaps for our families so our students could start the school year ready to learn. Another example was through our virtual story hour. Through this pandemic, Arbor Hill Elementary School and Capital Rep maintained our partnership by designing a virtual interactive program that aligned with our school goals, ELA standards, and indicators to support academic growth. This story hour program offered creative, comprehensive, and culturally relevant activities and books to engage our students. Capital Rep provided student texts like El Ray Jakes, the Recess King, and the Skin I'm In, allowing our students to see themselves in the work. By this program being virtual, these activities and dramatic readings made the work accessible to our online students, their parents, and our teachers as well. We are so proud of the relationship that has been formed and are looking forward to the great new things this partnership will continue to bring. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanae. So our next guest is one of those that needs no introduction, but like anybody who needs no introduction, you know that there's a question out there that'd be better to answer before it gets asked of her. So here's the question: where are we going to park? The answer's easy. If you walk out to the corner of Livingston and North Pearl and just turn a 360, there are 65 parking spaces you can see. There's at least another 60 that you can't see because it's a little too far or around the bend or whatever else. We are arranging and have arranged with the Albany Parking Authority a shuttle that when we are running will go from downtown to here. It'll probably be able to do 3 runs before a show, something like that. We're still working those details out. And we have leased a piece of property just past Colony Street, which is the next block, that is being turned into a parking lot for about 50 cars. We still haven't figured out the financing for it, so before you leave, put money in the bucket. But other than that, it's going to happen. So, with those answers, I am delighted to introduce Mayor Kathy Sheehan, who has been a supporter of the arts throughout the region, a supporter in her city, just an amazing lady, and someone we can go to when we need to for help. Mayor?
Thank you, Philip. And there's another answer to where you're going to park question. When Philip and Maggie decided that this was a place that could be turned into a prince or a princess or whatever you want to consider it, I decided, well, I don't want to have to worry about where I park, so you can buy a house right here in Arbor Hill and walk here. Just saying. So, I mean, the completion of this renovated space at a time that we are all starting to slowly and safely emerge from what has been an experience that no one in our lifetimes has ever had is, to me, a symbol, and it is a sign of our hope for our future, of our ability to be resilient, and to have something to look forward to that's new and amazing. And I think it's going to be appreciated in a way that it wouldn't have necessarily been had we not gone through what we've gone through in the last year. And so I'm a silver linings person, and I'm always looking for that silver lining. But I think coming into this space literally takes my breath away in an incredible way that I am so much more appreciative of what is going to happen here, of what can come of the partnerships that exist and the amazing work that is being done with Arbor Hill Elementary School, with the Albany Housing Authority, with really thinking about this space in context of where it sits in the story of America, the story of our city, but the story of our country, the racial reckoning that we are undergoing, the responsibility that all of us have to one another, right? There are so many layers upon layers that I think, I don't want to weigh down the building too much, but I believe that this building represents that, a hope for a future in our community that is going to be something spectacular. And I have always believed in the transformative power of the arts. It is something that propelled me forward as a child. It is something that every child, I think, needs to be exposed to. I know I tell the story over and over again of the first play that we took our son to. It was Peter Pan. It was at Proctor's. And I had been reading this chapter book of Peter Pan to my son from the time he was very little. He was fascinated by it. And I had the chapter book. It had no pictures in it. And when the stage opened up and you have the scene of the kids romping around in their bedroom, my son pulled me to my ear, to his face, and he whispered in my ear, and he said, "Mommy, their Wendy looks nothing like our Wendy." And it was, right, it was just that magical moment that he had in his head, this vision, and now it was being expanded and morphed and changed by the arts. So in any event, I'm getting verklempt here. I'm so excited about it. I'm turning into Maggie. So I just want to say that I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm so thrilled to have been some small part of this. I'm so grateful to every person in this room and who couldn't be in this room, who helped to make this happen. This was a team effort. It was not obvious. It took vision. It took an ability to see that vision. It took a willingness to take risk. It took a willingness to invest in this community. And I'm so grateful to every single person who helped make that happen. Thank you.
Between the three boards of Proctor's, UPH, and Capital Rep, there are about 75 board members. Clearly, they couldn't come today, so most of them are watching live stream. So in case you're wondering, they're all here, and we're streaming this live across the Open Stage Media channels, the many channels that support Schenectady and Albany. Our next speaker inherited her role, and I don't mean that she doesn't deserve it, but her role in this building she inherited, because Steve Longo, her predecessor, brought Maggie and me here after we already said, yeah, this building's too hard, too many columns, it's just too much. And said, will you look at this again, and will you consider, what if there was a couple $1 million from the state of New York's Home and Community Renewal Office's Community Investment Fund? And I went, $2 million. This deal is probably 1.25. I don't know, Jim, you can tell me later. And I said, yeah, we should reconsider this, because that was the issue. So Steve Longo, in retirement, thank you. Chiquita Darbo, our friend with whom we've worked on a number of projects with the Housing Authority. I am delighted that you've taken his place, and I'm delighted that you could be here as the Executive Director of the Albany Housing Authority.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is truly an exciting day. I want to first thank you all who made this day possible. I also want to thank Capital Rep, Philip Morris, as well as the state for making this possible. Mayor Sheehan, for always supporting partnerships that bridge the gaps and directly benefits the residents of the Albany Housing Authority and our city. I thank you. The Housing Authority staff, and last but not least, and I know, Philip, you kind of stole my thunder, but I have to say it, my predecessor, Steve Longo, for seeing the value in this partnership and for his role in assisting in getting the rep here. The announcement of Capital Rep's decision to relocate triggered the start of the Housing Authority's courtship to secure their decision to choose the ID Arbor community as their new home. We hosted many tours of this warehouse, along with making introductions to key neighborhood stakeholders. I was a part of some of those tours along with Steve, so I remember the efforts that he put into, so I truly am grateful for his efforts and vision. All of the agencies that came together for one cause, to improve the quality of lives and to provide provide opportunities for our residents. The Housing Authority and Capital Rep has entered into a partnership that will allow access for community engagement, job opportunities, training, program development, and affordable tickets to some of the shows that are here, that will be here hopefully in the future, near future. But more importantly, it really outlines a continuous partnership that really stands to the community and what it needs. A child that has grown up, and I don't mean to steal your thunder, Mayor, but I too grew up knowing the arts, a daughter of a musician, and knowing how the arts really impacted my life and really provided access to opportunities and accessibility to really broaden my horizon. And it's really important that we have this opportunity to share with our community. So I look forward to extending our partnership and developing programs and working together in the future and bringing the arts, I would say, on putting it on the map and bringing people even from out of the state and city of Albany here and bringing it together. So I want to thank everyone again for this evening. Oh my goodness, this is morning, isn't it? I'm sorry. But I also, more importantly, I want to point out that we have property across the street, and this is why it's significant. We have 361 units. 137 of these units are new constructions. If you go out on Pearl Street, you'll see them right across the street. We actually are under construction for the 2 towers that are on the corner of Livingston and Pearl. Probably in about a year and a half, they'll be in completion, and they'll have a new face. It's going to be beautiful, and a beautiful home for our residents to come home, walk across the street, enjoy some of the theater, and then be able to walk back home, just like the mayor. So again, I'm excited, and I really, really, really am looking forward to what this new partnership will bring. So thank you to everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon or morning. Thank you.
Projects like this come together with lots of effort. We start, Proctor's has done a number of construction projects, and I start every one the same way as we started the one here at theRep, by looking at the contractor and saying, we've been friends, and we're going to be friends at the end of this, no matter what. And that's been the case for every project. So I'm delighted to share with you our friends who helped make this project happen. Jim Dawsey from MLB Construction, who did all the general construction. Tony Ward from AKW Construction Management. Ron Bagoli from CS Arch Architecture. Patricia Altman, our historic consultant. Where are you, Trish? There you are. Really important. Without her, there wouldn't be about $3 million of historic tax credits in this project. Beth Bashaw from M&T Bank, who took a tour but is not here now, because M&T both financed this and purchased the historic credits. Sarah Reginelli from Capitalize Albany. Thank you, Sarah, for a whole bunch of never-before-done things in order to make the historic tax credits work. And Michael Kusick, who couldn't be with us today, from Savvy Sound and Lights. Our systems are matched across all of the collaborative buildings. So actually a sound person can go into any one of these buildings and make it work. And you can tell because Dan Sheehan doesn't work in this building normally, but he knows the rest of them. So it takes leadership. The leadership of the board of theRep has been remarkable, absolutely remarkable. As Maggie has said, they raised the money cold to buy the building when we just had to buy it and then take our chances on the rest of the financing. And whenever a need has come up, he has said, I'll take care of it, we'll take care of it. So I would like to introduce our board chairman, Coach Harold, keep your eye on the ball, Islin.
Thank you, Philip. Today is the fulfillment of a dream, building a new home for Capital Rep in downtown Albany. It is the result of many years of hard work by our board and our senior management. We had to find a new home. We had to raise the financing. We had to design the building. We had to start construction. And then we had to restart construction a second time after it was interrupted by COVID. At every step, we ran into significant obstacles, but we persevered, we found solutions, and here we are today. This project will be great for the cultural life of our region, but we also hope it will be transformative for downtown Albany. I want to thank my fellow board members who shared the vision of a new home, raised and contributed money, and hung in there in the face of adversity. There are many others to thank: our partners in state and local government, our contributors and subscribers, our staff, the architects, construction managers, engineers, and maybe most importantly, the workers who built the building. I especially want to thank Mayor Sheehan, who stood with us every step of the way. And I also want to acknowledge the efforts of Senator Schumer, who just recently was instrumental in including funding to help theaters reopen in the stimulus package. So now we have one more obstacle to overcome. We have to reopen. Philip, Maggie, and our board are relentlessly focused on finding ways to present live theater in this wonderful new building as soon as we possibly can. To our subscribers, our neighbors, and our region, come back to the theater. We need you, and you will have a great time in our fantastic new home. Thank you.
When you tour media, Harold's family made a significant gift to this project and have named the Lauren and Harold Iselin Performing Arts Studio, which is the black box upstairs. So we are delighted for that too. I also would like to add another significant supporter who's in the room, supporters, Karen and Chet Opelka, who have been relentlessly supportive of the arts in the Capital Region. Every single place imaginable, from MHT to Saratoga, you name it. If there's an arts thing, Karen and Chet are thinking about it, deciding if it's good or bad, and if it's good, are putting their money where their mouth is. What's really significant about their gift was we would still only have 4 toilets in this building, except that they supported the new bathrooms. They insisted on supporting the bathrooms. So it takes a village, right? It just does. And this project is complicated financing. And we couldn't proceed without thanking a bunch of players from the state of New York. The Empire State Development Corporation has been remarkable with support from the Regional Economic Development Council. Through the City of Albany's application, ESD has also supported this project with Restore New York funding. The New York State Homes and Community Renewal Agency, as I mentioned earlier, the community incentive program that the Housing Authority brought to us has been remarkable because $2 million of funding is the only reason this room could happen. And the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for approving federal and state historic preservation credits. I will add that we applied for them and they were denied. And the mayor and Patricia and I went and appealed in DC and walked away going, that may have worked. And it did. So I want to thank Shanae and the mayor and Chiquita and Maggie and Harold for participating. I want to thank the media for being here. We're optimistic about our reopen, but we don't know when. But we're optimistic about it. And we will end this meeting with, I'm going to ask you all for one big loud hip hip hooray. You ready? Go. Hip hip hooray! With that, if you're not from the press, please sit and wait just 2 minutes so that we can move the media out to be both here and upstairs, and then non-media people are going to be escorted out that exit door. And thank you all for being here. Jim.
Albany Business Review, Times Union, CBS, joined Maggie and I on this side of the stage. Amanda's at the top of the stairs waving. The Gazette, Rivertown, and Channel 13 to go with give you a quick tour and access to Maggie and Harold and Phil for interviews. Thank you, everyone.
Patrick, did you go on that tour? Yeah, I just want to make sure I spell your name right.
That, if you had that way, that's perfect. Thank you.
Go to me first. So it's a huge day for us. The Rep, Proctor's UPH, the Proctor's Collaborative, in opening the first new theater in upstate New York, I bet you in 25 years, and the first new cultural investment in Albany in 20 years. So here we are. We can't tell you what we're doing when, so it's not a grand opening yet, but it's going to be eventually. But we can tell you, we did a fabulous job making a state-of-the-art theater for the Capital Region, and we're ecstatic about it.
Okay. All right, so here we are. I can't believe it. This is really the work of about, I don't know, 20 years, at least since 2011 when we became part of the collaborative. I just want to say to all of you out there, we wouldn't be here without you. It took so many people for us to be standing here, you know, near this stage, under these incredible new lights and sound equipment, a beautiful lobby, a new theater upstairs. I can't wait to show each and every one of you what you did. It's all for you. At last, we have a facility that's worthy of our growing and incredibly diverse audience. Thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing you right here as soon as we possibly can. Thanks, everybody.
Ask questions, oh, that's great. It's good to meet you.
And you know, there were a lot of people, including myself, on Monday, who didn't know we really be here.